Well, the most viewed journalist on the planet just traveled to Bitcoin country, El Salvador, to catch up with President Nayib Bukele, who just so happens to be the most popular leader on the planet. And if you remember the first time these two got together, it was epic.
They say the Federal Reserve is nothing federal and has no reserves. So they do print more money and they rob you from your wealth. Now, if you save for retirement, well, now my savings are not enough to sustain me. And that's because you were robbed.
A whole hell of a lot has happened since then, too. Tucker was still on Fox, and Bukele was yet to deliver this iconic moment at CPAC when he went nuclear on the scam that is the fiat system and taxes.
The real problem is not the high taxes themselves, but the fact that they are not even really funding the government. The government is funded by money printing, paper backed with paper, a bubble that will inevitably burst. The dollar will fall, and the Western civilization with it.
Now Tucker traveled to the land of volcanoes just after President Bukele recorded a historic landslide re-election victory. It looks like many world leaders were in attendance in some form, and with good reason. Bukele accomplished the impossible. During his first term, he eliminated violent crime, reduced immigration, invigorated the local economy. He made Bitcoin legal tender, and he did it all while flipping the fiat status the bird along the way. So what went down this time between the two legends? Well, it was an absolute slapper.
Party, that ball. Yeah, come and have a good time with G.O.D.
What I loved about this interview was the way in which Bukele painted a vivid picture of America's decline. He described how the entire economic, political, and monetary systems are broken without ever stating it, and he did so using this example.
Somebody showed me the 600-meter railway. It's not a problem of budget or investors willing to pour money on it or engineers. Why would it take over a decade to build something that was so significant for the whole country? You could have built the tallest building in the world and said, okay, we're coming back bigger and stronger. I mean,
Clear, more crystal example of a completely dysfunctional system? Didn't think so. That is a system on the way out like a dinosaur. Now, another awesome segment, and it was this theme Bukele ended up carrying throughout the entire interview, which also, I have to say, is a sign of genius here. So mid-discussion, Bukele dropped this little story on maintenance involving a wall.
What can be done at this point to reverse it?
well, everything erodes and degrades. I mean, that's, just the laws of nature.
Yes.
Same happens with anything, infrastructure. That is happening because we're not giving the correct maintenance to the civilization.
Didn't think much, but then it became something he came back to and built off of throughout, and I couldn't help, probably because I'm slightly deranged, but maintenance, I thought of Thomas Jefferson and the Tree of Liberty being quenched every, 20 years or so, but that statement was a great metaphor for maintenance, and if you quit maintaining your freedom, your democratic systems, whatever form of government you live under, your monetary systems, well, you end up with what we have today. Deterioration on every front. The money, the culture, the infrastructure, you name it.
What made the West the leader in the world at the time we're living right now? Importing and that doesn't not only destroys the structure of the government, but it also destroys the structure of society. Because if you give, for example, okay, if you don't work, I'll give you money. Or what we can do to get more votes in the election, let's give them something to get their vote. Let's give them, I don't know, $100,000 each. But it doesn't make sense for a country. I mean, why would you give $100,000 to each member of a voting group? It should be illegal, but it's not, because who makes the laws, right? It's the government. The system is eroding, and if the maintenance team doesn't go in and fix all the things that have been, degrading the last, 50, 70 years, it will eventually fall.
El Salvador continues to win massively, and before we show you the latest numbers on El Salvador and how their Bitcoin is doing, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsors, the Bitcoin Way. Bringing over 25 years of experience in cybersecurity, the Bitcoin Way is your IT team in the Bitcoin world. They'll help take you from that why Bitcoin to the how Bitcoin. From setting up your first wallet node all the way up to inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business. They cover all aspects of Bitcoin security and privacy. They even work with their clients to configure routers, devices, and networks. Also, not to mention UTXO management, in short for everything in Bitcoin sovereignty and privacy related. They are your go-to source. Hey, That is how you win. DCA, stack a few sats a day, and that'll keep the status away, my friends. Man, I hope you like this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, share that sound money gospel, give us a pamp. For all the latest breaking Bitcoin news, be sure to follow us on X. And don't miss the #1 live Bitcoin-only news show on YouTube, Simply Bitcoin Live, coming at you Monday through Friday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. Hey, stay frosty out there. I'll catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.